And tonight we continue to bring you reaction to the story which is breaking right now, the untimely passing of former Minister Tina Joemat-Pettersson.
And she served in the position, of course, of, the Ministry of Energy, that is, with effect from 2014 until 2017. She was, of course, an active member of the Azanian Students Organisation between 1985 and 1986.
And we'll continue to bring you reaction. On the line, we have the leader of Action SA, Herman Mashaba. Mr. Mashaba, good evening to you and welcome. As with all of our guests tonight, this news certainly comes as a bolt from the blue. How do you react?
Absolutely devastated. These are the kind of news that South Africa can least afford when we lose such young people. I think Minister Pettersson was still a young person, a lot still to give to this country. When I saw this hardly 10 minutes ago on social media, I thought it was a joke, and all of a sudden I see it's all over the news. I can only say our deepest condolences on behalf of the entire Action SA family, on behalf of people of South Africa, and the condolences to his families and everyone within the ANC family as well.
Your memory will likely stretch further than a lot of your counterparts in government, someone who's been a political activist, a strong advocate for democracy, wearing the colours of the ANC proudly since a young woman. What are your recollections and how would those ideals and that character stand out, given the context of apartheid at that time?
What stands out to me was, I think, November last year, as Action SA Senate somewhere in Bryanston, we had a one-week strategic session. And on the first day of us arriving there, I just bumped into her and came up, hugged me, and after I've not really seen her personally in a long time. And now it's a reflection on me that I will never see someone like that. I'll never touch him. I'll never speak to her again. And as you are aware, people in the ANC, because of my age, these are people I grew up knowing and engaging with them over many years. Unfortunately, the time has now arrived that I will never get that opportunity again, but not just me, the entire country of South Africa. And I can only really say deepest condolences to his family and the entire ANC colleagues.
Herman Mashaba for Action SA, thank you very much for sharing your reaction on the sad news of the passing of former Minister Tina Joemat-Pettersson.
Let's now speak to the spokesperson of the Economic Freedom Fighters, Sinao Tambo, who joins us live now. Sinao, thank you so much for your time this evening. How do you react to this news?
Thank you very much. When we look at sad news, and we send our condolences to the family of Tina Joemat-Pettersson and, of course, the African National Congress on this shocking and untimely passing. I saw it during the rounds as well. And I didn't take it seriously until once I arrived home, we saw the headlines on the news. So we send our condolences to the African National Congress, and undoubtedly our democracy has lost a committed servant who has had her own checkered history, but a servant nonetheless, and we send our condolences.
And Sinao, you sat, of course, on opposite benches when it comes to the work of Parliament, you as the Economic Freedom Fighters, and she was with the ANC. But listening to what, some of your colleagues in Parliament would have said, the fellow MPs say that she was strong and she was, someone who believed that Parliament needed to work for the people, accountability needed to be, to return back to that particular house. Let's talk about your view of her as a fellow MP.
Look, as I've mentioned a bit earlier, she's someone with a checkered history in our democracy. And I think one thing we can take away from the fact is that she wasn't someone who was shy from subjecting herself to accountability whenever she was being probed by those of us in the opposition. And I think that's something that we must take to heart under conditions in South Africa where a lot of people want to utilize the courts to cover up corruption, utilize the judicial system to evade accountability. She wasn't someone of that character. She subjected herself to the robust accountability of Parliament, understanding that that is part and parcel of our democracy. And that's something we must appreciate, and I think that's a spirit that we wish will rub off on many of the colleagues that she has left behind, and it's something that we admire as those of us who are in the opposition benches.
Thank you very much, Sinawo, for that this evening. That is Sinawo Tambo. He's the spokesperson for the Economic Freedom Fighters.
If you're just joining us, you will be hearing the news of former Cabinet Minister Tina Joemat-Pettersson's passing. Joemat-Pettersson was currently serving as a Member of Parliament as well as the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Policing. Speaking to us earlier was DA leader John Steenhuisen, and here's what he had to say.
I always think you should assess some person's life based on the whole analysis of their life, not pinpoints in it. She had been dogged by some scandals, but I think that certainly in recent years she had come back to Parliament, no longer serving as a minister, but really quite committed to the institution. And I just simply hope that we are able to retain people who understand how important Parliament is, particularly on things like the Lady R and on holding government to account, and that those skills are there because that's exactly what the people need us to be doing, regardless of party. We should all, whether we're in the ANC, the EFF, the IFP, or the DA, should be there performing that oversight role to hold the executive accountable. And certainly, I think that her initiatives and efforts in the last little while have certainly been appreciated and noticed.
Let's continue to bring you more reaction on the story. Now, Zama is with the African Transformation Movement and joins us on the line now. Zama, thank you so much for your time this evening. How do you react?
Well, the African Transformation Movement is truly with sadness that we receive the news. Truly, there is no member of society, especially people who have contributed into the upward trajectory of the society one way or the other. It is always untimely, truly, to have such an occurrence happen. I think as the African Transformation Movement would like to pass our condolences to the family, the country at large, and the political party she belonged to. And at this difficult time, we would like to say that the only way we are able to move forward is when we are able to hold each other and also hold on to the memories that have actually edified society of the Honorable Pettersson.
And thank you so much, Zama, for that this evening. And of course, there's going to be a lot coming out when it comes to her legacy and, the work that she would have done, whether it be in SASCO, whether it be in the ANC, and also the work that she was doing in Parliament when it comes to, being chair of the Portfolio Committee on Police. And that's where we leave it with you. That's Zaman Jona, who is with the African Transformation Movement. And we'll continue to monitor the story and bring you more on it.
So we'll continue to bring you live coverage on this breaking news story tonight. The former Portfolio Committee on Policing Chair, Tina Joemat-Pettersson, passing untimely at the age of 60, I believe, leaving behind her two sons. We have been getting reaction for you all evening long from her colleagues in the political parties, and there is consensus around the fact that she does leave a vacuum. And what's interesting, Bongiwe, is, as you were just talking about now, the fact that she cut her teeth in politics at a very young age, was always a strong-willed, sort of loudly voiced activist for the ANC, and one of the youngest MECs during the early days of democracy.
And listening to, what the EFF Sinawo Tambo says is that despite everything that, would be placed at her doorstep as allegations, she was always available to, be investigated and avail herself and, when it comes to those issues of accountability. But also at the same time, you think about the contribution that she would have made. I mean, you think now ahead to that Congress by the, the Women's League, and she was, some were backing her to be in the leadership of, the Women's League and revive the ANC Women's League. And, listening to Obed Bapela, her fellow comrade in the ANC, that is a devastating blow, especially when you look ahead at, what she would have continued to contribute.
Of course, there'll be, conversations around the length and breadth of her career. We were talking earlier on that it has been a complex and a checkered career, but tonight is the night to remember the contribution that she has made to politics, and certainly that is the line that her colleagues have taken in sharing their recollections of her performance and her contribution towards politics in the country, saying that there will definitely be a gap in Parliament.
And I do understand that we've got the spokesperson of the ANC, Mahlengi Bengu Motsiri. Mahlengi, I don't even know where to begin. It's got to be devastating for the party to have to learn of this, just sudden, untimely passing.
It is beyond devastating. I would want to say upfront that the family of Comrade Tina Joemat-Pettersson needs to be afforded the space to deal with her passing. It only happened today. And I think that honorable South Africans should, including political parties, ourselves as the party of her choice for all of her life, as a young activist growing up in the Northern Cape all the way to the time of her passing. We ourselves are wanting to ask that the space is given to the family to process this and to then give us a perspective about how we should proceed. But I will say that the African National Congress is beyond saddened. Comrade Tina comes from the ranks of the youth movement, the student movement. She's a gender activist. It's even difficult to think of her in the past. And has been one of those comrades that have been very loyal and dutiful to the African National Congress, her home. And so we are very sad, we're pained, and those of us also who grew up while she was a big sister are even more broken-hearted. And that is really what I wish to say. And our heart goes out to the family.
Yeah. Mahlengi, it's Iman speaking, and again, condolences to you. You referenced the fact that she would have been a mentor to some of the younger women in the NEC and in the NWC. How would you describe her contribution and her impact on the lives of the women of the ANC?
I would speak about a personal experience. It was around 1994, and I was a young graduate, and I was an intern at the Shell House, now known as Lutuli House. And at that point, she was the youngest NEC of education for the Northern Cape, and now the modern-day Northern Cape. And I was assigned the responsibility of coordinating education policy under the stewardship of Cheryl Carolus and the late Dr. John Samuel. And that's where I first met Comrade Tina, and the rest is history. And so I was impacted by her at that age, because then I believed that it was possible for me to grow and to make an impact in society.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your reflections there. It obviously is a very, very tough night. That was Mahlengi Bengu Motsiri, who speaks for the ANC.
Thank you so much for that. And of course, a very difficult time as the ANC also is trying to process this one. You can only think of a lot of them who will definitely have memories of her. But I do understand that we do have some tweets that are also reacting to our breaking news at this hour. Let's take a look then at what you're saying.
And Israel Nkuna Mahlati says, no, they might have killed her because I'm a WhatsApp and it looks like more evidence is coming out, like Gautrain. Something's not right. The question is, was she sick or I can't really decipher the rest of that tweet. But basically there are some suggestions that there might have been something else at play here. And Israel, hopefully you can expand exactly what your meaning is in that tweet.
Money Talks saying those WhatsApp messages will not come out.
Jeff Bright says, condolences, may her soul rest in perfect peace. Hope this is not linked to the Public Protector's WhatsApp. How did she die? Suicide, heart attack or accident? Anything is possible. We are in a mafia state. Well, those tweets that that we have been sharing there, and with regard to the WhatsApp messages, references the case that has been made by the suspended Public Protector's husband with regard to allegations of bribery and extortion to make her inquiry go away. So that is what the reference is about.
Yeah, and Sahwat is saying, my deepest condolences to friends and family. May her soul rest in peace. And we'll continue to bring you more on this particular story. Very sad news. You know, a lot of political parties that we've spoken to tonight really just, you know, saddened by this sudden passing. And we'll continue then to monitor the story for you.